These two individuals right now are sitting in federal prison, and they're sitting in solitary confinement. They're at a maximum facility right now. They have really nothing besides maybe a concrete bed, as you've described, and the conditions are inhumane. So let's talk about these two individuals, because although that they're currently being charged and they're dealing with federal charges, if they are pardoned and they haven't yet been pardoned, the state AG wants to come in and charge them at a state level, I think, right?
Yeah, she's basically threatened that. She did that also, by the way, when Adam wanted to testify for Eric Molitor. He is one of the men who was eventually acquitted in the state case. So some of these guys were charged at the state level. They had two different state trials. At the second state trial, he wanted to testify on behalf of Eric Molitor. Eric is somebody who got roped into the FBI's planned recon of Whitmer's vacation cottage, which she, by the way, planned also. She coordinated the date and time, with the FBI. She's not a victim. She was never in any danger. I just want to make that clear. And so he wanted to testify for Eric, and they said, well, if he comes and he testifies at this trial, we're going to charge him with state charges. So they've played this game before. They are trying to, they're basically treating these men as political pawns. And it's disgusting. It's shameful. They're at Florence Supermax. These men have, prior to this, like, no criminal history. There was no violence, by the way, in this case at all, except for one of the lead FBI handling agents who beat his wife after attending a swingers party. So these men are non-violent offenders. They are first-time offenders. They have no business at Florence Supermax, which is a CIA black site essentially on U.S. soil. And right now, their case is up for appeal at the Sixth Circuit. We are hoping that the Sixth Circuit does the right thing and overturns their wrongful convictions. It should be clear also, they didn't get a fair trial. They weren't able to introduce a lot of the evidence. They had people that wanted to testify on their behalf that were basically threatened by the government and told they were unindicted co-conspirators, and if they testified, they could go to prison for 10 years or more. So they basically convicted these men in what amounts to a show trial. There were two of them. The first trial where two men were acquitted, then there was a mistrial on Adam and Barry. They did a retrial. And we believe that their convictions should be overturned. In the state guys, there's still three men who were wrongfully convicted at a state trial in Jackson County. Joe Morrison, Paul Beller, Pete Musico. These men are fathers. They have children and families who need them. The president can't pardon them. However, if the Sixth Circuit overturns Adam and Barry's wrongful convictions, hopefully that will help their appeals. Their appeals have finally just now been moved to the actual Court of Appeals. For the longest reason, it wasn't happening. It was just being dragged out and dragged out as they moved these guys around across the country and then around different places in Michigan. So it's very sad what's happening to them, and we don't want people to forget about them. And we also, if the Sixth Circuit doesn't do the right thing and they don't overturn these convictions, we would hope that the president would pardon them. I suspect that they might send it back for a retrial. If they do that, then we ask that the Trump DOJ not recharge the case. But there should be an investigation into the Whitmer hoax. This was the dress rehearsal for January 6th. The same FBI agent that oversaw this was then promoted to oversee Washington, D.C. in January 6th. So there is a connection to January 6th there, and both of them should be investigated. We need an investigation into the FBI, and not just the FBI, but the government in general, their actions in the Whitmer case and January 6th.
Yeah, Christina, we need to get aggressive with this because Democrats don't care. And that's kind of like what we've been talking about all in this program. They're willing to go to war on certain fronts, whether it comes to abortion, immigration, and even protect their political prisoners and make sure that they keep them. And these two men, even these five men, I should say, are all political prisoners. And it's heartbreaking to see that this is still going on and that they're being abused.